Overseas, the Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry says at least 20 people are dead from overnight Israeli strikes at southern Gaza's largest hospital. A second missile hit the hospital in Khan Yunis after rescue crews arrived. And those strikes also killed 5 journalists. 2 were freelancers and the others worked for Reuters, Al Jazeera, and the Middle East Eye. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel deeply regrets what he called a tragic mishap at the hospital. And meantime, Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz vowed Sunday to press on with the IDF advance on Gaza City. Katz says Israeli forces will continue the mission until Hamas agrees to Israel's terms and releases all hostages. This follows a famine being declared Friday in Gaza City by a UN-backed authority. And New Hampshire Democratic Senator Jeanne Shaheen spoke about it Sunday on Face the Nation.
The reality is we have people dying because they are systematically being starved to death, because Israel is refusing to allow in the humanitarian aid that people need to keep alive. Not only that, they're getting ready to do another, or they've already started planning another major incursion into Gaza in ways that are going to kill more people. So this is not acceptable. The world needs to speak out. I think it's very important that we allow that humanitarian aid in to the people who are starving.
And for more on this, Vivian Yee joins us now. She covers the Middle East as the Cairo bureau chief for the New York Times. And Vivian, thanks for being with us. Israel wants to press forward, it seems, with this new offensive, but there is still, of course, this dire need to help starving people in Gaza. So why does it seem that one objective is coming at the expense of the other for Israel's leadership?
Yeah, that's for sure. And thanks for having me. Aid officials have consistently said that any sort of large-scale displacement, which this sort of raid or move to take control of Gaza City would require, would mean way more misery and hunger for Gaza's people. You're talking about hundreds of thousands of people in Gaza City who would have to move south to an area that Israel has designated for them to live. And that displacement in itself is extremely disruptive to people. Any sort of resources that they've built up, connections, any food they've managed to stockpile, that tends to get lost in these repeated displacements. And they'll be cut off from, the existing aid mechanisms that are there. On top of that, obviously, when people move south, they'll have to go through Israeli military checkpoints, which means some of them could be arrested. The routes themselves are dangerous. So all of this adds up to much more misery, pain, and certainly no alleviation of the humanitarian situation up there.
Absolutely. And as you point out, aid does want to come in. UNICEF's executive director, Catherine Russell, spoke on Face the Nation Sunday about how much she wants her organization to simply be allowed into Gaza. Here's what she had to say.
You have seen on television, you have seen this video of these almost apocalyptic situations where people are streaming towards these places, trying to get food. People are getting shot. It's a terrible situation, and it doesn't work. It's not working that well. Now, look, I don't much care if the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation does some distribution. Just let us do our work too. Let us in. We know how to do this distribution. And when I say we, it's not just UNICEF, it's the UN, it's the other international NGOs. We do it all around the world. We've done it for decades. We know how to do it. We know how to do it in a way that it gets to the people who need it.
So, Vivian, what is keeping these tried and true efforts from organizations like UNICEF getting into Gaza to stave off this famine?
It's hard to even count the reasons at this stage. I mean, I've covered the war and the efforts to get aid into Gaza since the beginning of the war. And, the main factor is the Israeli blockade, full stop. There are lots of other factors like the fighting itself. That means roads are torn up. It means there are lots of areas that are not safe for aid trucks to go. People at this point are so desperate to get any food that they literally just wait for the trucks near the gates into Gaza and pull anything they can off of the trucks. So very little is left to distribute to the people who can't go and seek aid. But a lot of it does come back to Israeli restrictions on the types of things that can come in, on the amount of things that can come in. Israel does say that, it is trying to step up the flow of aid into Gaza, but aid groups say they're not doing nearly enough. And in fact, there are dozens of aid organizations that say that they have not been able to deliver meaningful aid into Gaza since March 2nd, because they face, at this point, logistical and registration issues with the Israeli authorities, who are not letting them bring in the stuff that they have waiting there. So, you can imagine all of this will only get worse when fighting intensifies in Gaza City, the offensive that you mentioned earlier on.
Yeah, and each day makes a difference. Vivian Yee, thank you very much for being with us.